Ladies and gentlemen, whether you love him or hate him, he is one of the most famous people on this planet. And that goes the same as the person who was interviewing him, Piers Morgan. Andrew Tate and Piers Morgan had an interview. And we don't know if Piers Morgan likes Andrew Tate or Piers Morgan hates Andrew Tate. But all I do know is that the interview got a little bit heated, so I'm going to take it that Andrew Tate got a little bit defensive and Piers Morgan was putting the pressure on Andrew Tate. Well, today we're going to dive in and watch the interview with Andrew Tate and Piers Morgan. We are going to be reacting to that one interview. Let's get it over and done with. Let's watch it. Let's go.
Of what's to come. Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking it?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
for
say.
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 20...
All right, okay. So, what I think with that, I'm not saying Andrew Tate is wrong, but I'm also saying, well, maybe Andrew Tate could have had a better way of saying it. You know what I mean? I feel like Andrew Tate just says it just as it is. You know what I mean? But when it comes to the internet, you know, you've got to be more. You know, you just have to say something a different way so people don't get offended.
25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
That would, well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
Well, what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny then.
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive.
See here, Andrew Tate is getting pretty steamed up, I can tell. You can just tell when Andrew Tate gets angry, and, you know, that's one of them.
Certain age and saying the age.
You're saying 18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, than ageist, perhaps, but misogynistic, absolutely
Is that
not.
But you just accepted it was misogyny.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
If a 26-year-old woman
really
is watching
defensive
this and has heard those comments,
Yeah.
would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of world for a woman that you?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
So you're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine?
My friend.
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where...
You don't think it's fine?
The reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say Piers.
And
you
the
know
thing
what?
is as well, Piers Morgan always butts in. This is what I've noticed about any time I've seen Piers Morgan talking to other people, not just Andrew Tate. I've actually done a video of Piers Morgan on TikTok, them talking to a vegan. He does not let them speak, no matter what. He just won't let them speak. He'll always keep speaking over them. And I feel like in a way that's one way to like gain power over somebody, is just keep speaking over them so they can't speak. So you sound way better than them.
With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think you...
Okay, so now we've come up with the idea that, okay, now, I think we already come up with this idea, but now it shows it, okay? Piers Morgan does not like Andrew Tate. He does not respect Andrew Tate at all.
You need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression had become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right. Her father,
terrible.
Her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
That's the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is...
I mean, that is pretty sad that a 14-year-old girl did take her life, honestly. I mean, I feel like Piers Morgan mentioned that to really put pressure on Andrew Tate to kind of make him realise what he's doing. You know what I mean? Obviously he should, because people have got to get that point across, you know what I mean? So you know, it's a good thing that Piers Morgan actually said that to Andrew Tate, but he also feel like he said it to a lot of pressure on him.
Truly sad. The world we live in today is... The world we live in... The fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
But I'd say them differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So
there we go.
To me, that's an acceptance. Not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognised and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that with massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything. Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
Okay, I think that's the end of the interview. Obviously, we got an ad. Yeah, honestly, guys, I feel like... I don't know. I mean, Andrew Point's views are... I don't know. I personally, I don't know. I'm 50-50 with Andrew Tate. Piers Morgan, I am as well. How's it as ad? But yeah, honestly, I don't know. Andrew Tate, it's just the way he says things. That's all. I mean, I actually like Andrew Tate, to be honest. Right? I think the things he says are real. Okay, like I actually agree with him, but he could say stuff differently because he does know there is a young audience watching. So I feel like he should say stuff differently because of that. But other than that, I feel like people are taking stuff way too out of context of what he says and trying to find every way to dig him into the ground. You know, dig his content creation in the ground, not influencing into the ground. But honestly, I feel like Andrew Tate does nothing wrong. I feel like it's completely fine. And same with Piers Morgan. Everyone hates Piers Morgan because of his point of views. And honestly, I thought Piers Morgan and Andrew Tate would get along, but obviously not. You know, people do have different opinions on different things. So, you know, it's one of them things. But anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you don't mind leaving a like and subscribing, you know, a like will just do. I don't really mind. But yeah, also leave in the comments of what other things I should react to. Other than that, guys, peace out.